are listening to the Oneofus.net podcast network. And this week, it's Joe's turn.
Hey, everybody.
You're just so excited right now because you're like, man, I'm so happy I got to watch Killing Hasselhoff this week.
I really was. I peed a little bit, and then as I was watching it, I peed a bit more, and then afterwards, I peed a whole bunch. I may have an issue with my bladder.
Did you pee on the disc?
No, I kept it pristine because I knew you wanted to keep it.
Anyway, yes, this is Digital Noise. We record all our reviews for all the Blu-rays and DVDs that have come out recently. And just to get the house cleaning out of the way first, please use our Amazon links. If you go on the actual Oneofus.net page, you'll see all the images of the movies and TV shows we're talking about. If you click on those images, they will bring you to the Amazon.com page for that item, where if you buy it, we get a nice little kickback. But in fact, if you buy anything starting from one of our links, as long as it starts from one of our links, we will end up getting a kickback. So let's say you click on Killing Hasselhoff, and you're like, nah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, you want Knight Rider 2000.
Yeah, and so you put into Knight Rider 2000 into the search bar at Amazon. At that point, still, even if you're not buying Killing Hasselhoff, you're buying Knight Rider 2000, we get a kickback from Knight Rider 2000.
But Amazon does say, you sure you don't want that Killing Hasselhoff?
Yeah, they'll bug you about it.
We still got it.
You'll get emails going like, we see that you looked at Killing Hasselhoff.
It's been 243 days.
Also, please become a subscriber. Nothing helps us more than becoming a subscriber to Oneofus.net, with lots of bonus features on there for you guys. More coming all the time. And, of course, regular shows that only air for subscribers. So please check that out. But now, without any further ado, let's get into
the reviews.
That's right, Joe.
Hey, I got it.
Man, you finally got that one down. That's good. I'm proud of you.
Going places.
All right, the first one is kind of an old classic from 1991 that was really the dividing line between the career of Bobcat Goldthwait when he was the Police Academy style Bobcat Goldthwait, and when he was Bobcat Goldthwait, the director.
Bobbert Goldthwait.
Yeah, Bobbert. And that is his movie Shakes the Clown. Whereas I completely understand this ain't for everyone.
No.
This is freaking dark. But it was kind of, when I finally saw Bad Santa, I was like, this is kind of just a bad knockoff of Shakes the Clown.
Yeah.
Which is a much better movie. Instead of a guy dressing up like Santa, it's a guy whose job is being a clown, Bobcat Goldthwait himself. Featuring a sizable cast of other people along with him, very talented folks, and some folks really early in their careers. Like, man, the very young Adam Sandler.
Oh, before he was a launch lady. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's awful. You know, like I said, it's more absurd than Bad Santa is, but it's equally as sort of dark and fucked up.
Yeah, like it's a dirty, nasty soul that's just being splayed out.
Like, one of the first scenes of this movie is he's had drunken sex the night before with Florence Henderson, and he's passed out in the bathroom, his head right next to the toilet, and her kid comes in and basically just pisses on his head.
Mm-hmm. That is a tequila sunrise.
Is that what they call that?
That's what they should.
And it goes into a whole thing where evil, one of the clowns in his group that's evil, played by Tom Kenny, who's of course better known as one of the great voice actors, SpongeBob, has made it look like a murder that happened at the local bar they all hang out at was actually Shakes, who was, of course, passed out somewhere when it happened. So Shakes has to go on the run, pretend to be a mime, which is the ultimate nightmare for clowns.
Because they hate mimes. Mimes versus clowns.
Yeah, there's a straight-up giant mime versus clown fight in here, and a very funny appearance by Robin Williams playing sort of the head of the mimes, who's quite funny. Yeah, I have a great time with this movie. I was glad to get a chance to finally come back to it and rewatch it. It's been years.
Yeah, it's been decades. Seeing Blake Clark in mime or clown drag was fantastic.
Yeah, that was odd. And I wonder if this is how, because he's in a lot of the Adam Sandler movies, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is how they first met.
Well, yeah, it was definitely a sort of thing where the comedy scene at the time this was buddies banding together to get Bobcat's thing made.
Yeah. It's almost all comedians and voice actors and stuff.
So it makes total sense that they just clicked, and he said, I want you to be in a movie where I play a boy who hauls water.
And he was like, well, okay.
I guess I can do it. Do I still got to wear a dress?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I know people who hate this movie because it's ugly. It's comedy. It's mean-spirited, but it's mean-spirited in the right way, where it's just absurd enough that I still really have a good time with it. Anyway.
Yeah. Clearly, nobody's feelings should be hurt by watching this movie because it's absurd as it gets. Like, my favorite line in the movie is pretty early on. They're watching the local TV clown, and he's got a little doggy, and one of the clowns at the clown bar goes, the moment he gets off that screen, he's going to fuck that dog.
There's lots of really funny moments like that. And I love the way they present, like, these clowns whose job is, like, go do birthday parties and what have you. They're all kind of vying for the most coveted job, which is the host of a children's TV show where the previous one has now been fired. And so everybody wants it. And that's partially where the whole Tom Kenny being evil, because he's willing to fuck over anybody to get this job. But all these clowns are just the worst human beings. Like, they're all just terrible, terrible people.
Well, what I love is it's a world where being a clown is a probable career choice.
Yeah, like that's something people actually go, yeah, this is something that's worth pursuing. And when you look at it, when you take it in the context of what they were actually talking about, they were talking about just being an actor and how cutthroat it is and everything. But putting it, like, just adding to that how absurd it really is the way these people treat each other, like for jobs, making them all clowns. Yeah. I don't know what the mimes are supposed to represent. Maybe TV actors?
Sure. The theatra?
Maybe that. I don't know. But yeah, highly recommended that this gets checked out by you guys. There's only one extra feature, but it's Mill Creek, who tends not to put any extra features on their stuff.
So you're lucky for what you get.
It's a commentary track with Bobcat Goldthwait, Tom Kenny, and actress-comedian Julie Brown, who also appears in this thing as Bobcat's love interest. Love-ish. That, of course, is pretty funny, as you might imagine, with all those people on it.
It's a tee-hee.
Yeah, it is. It's a tee-hee. I like that. We use that as a noun from now on. What I think is less of a tee-hee is the aforementioned film Killing Hasselhoff. First off, look, King Jong can be very funny when you know exactly how to use him. Like, generally, as a smaller level supporting character, he tends to always play the same types of roles for that. But when used properly in the right film, it can work, or in the right show, like in Community. I thought he was really good. But who in their right mind says, let's make him our leading man protagonist?
Oh, I'll tell you who. WWE Entertainment. Yeah. Worldwide Wrestling partnered up to make this piece of shit movie. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give away what I thought.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
It sucked. Like, David Hasselhoff somehow, I mean, not even somehow, it's quite obvious how he's basically told his manager, anybody that has anything that in any way relates to me as a pop cultural product, tell me because I want to be in it.
Yeah, I will
playing
do
myself. It. And he's kind of his career is playing David Hasselhoff and stuff now.
Which I'm really very tired of. Not just the Hoffs, but like the Chuck Norrises and the ilk where it's like, hey, I can't get real work anymore, so now I'm just a farce of myself.
It's kind of embarrassing quite at this point. Yeah. Like, once would have been one thing, but this is like 4 or 5 times now. I'm like, okay, come on, guy, you got to stop doing that. And twice in the past several months has he basically played this exact same part and even the same fucking jokes in Baywatch.
Oh, I did not watch the Baywatch.
Well, see, that's lucky on your part.
Oh, man.
The idea here is Jong is a club owner. He's very, very deep in debt, having taken out some loans from kind of mobby type folks. But one of the things he does for fun on the side is a celebrity death pool, right? And that you have a buy-in. And it's gotten to the point where nobody's picked correctly for a while, that the pool has gone way up. It's a lot of money. And he goes, well, my pick was David Hasselhoff, which is a really weird pick in a celebrity death pool.
Why he's not particularly ill.
Yeah, exactly. He seems to be in pretty good shape. I mean, like, I don't know why. That's a long shot. I hope he got better odds.
Well, 500,000 odds.
Well, that's the thing. He's gone up that high, and he's like, if me and my friends figure out a way to murder David Hasselhoff, we will get all that money. That is actually, believe it or not, the fucking premise of this movie.
And it does it quite poorly and sloppily and unfunnily, except for I forgot his real name, but he played Brett in Parks and Recreation. He was the hitman that the mobbish guy hires. I will see his name and recognize it. Maybe
there's a lot of like well-known people in this, large on the whole, playing themselves, like Howie Mandel. Michael Winslow, who's the guy who makes all the funny noises.
I'm
in the
sorry, I missed Howie Mandel.
He's in it real briefly.
I completely missed that.
Gina Lee Nolan, Rick Fox, Kid Cudi, Pat Monahan, Justin Bieber, Tony Rock, obviously David Hasselhoff, but then you've also got Jim Jeffries is in this, Ron Funches, Rhys Darby, John Lovitz, Will Sasso, who I actually thought Will Sasso was the one standout bit.
Yeah, he was. I mean, for me, it was Brett, who's not listed on there, even though he had more screen time than Ron Funches. And while I love the Funch,
you love the Funch. You got a Funch bunch at home.
Hey, anybody who's super allergic to alcohol is kind of cool in my book.
Yeah, that's weird. It doesn't even list it on IMDb. Maybe he asked to be taken off.
That's very possible.
I do not know. But yeah, the point is there's a lot of very familiar people, but most of the purpose of this whole fucking thing is just that they got David Hasselhoff and they're going to let him satirize everything in his career, down to that exact same scene in Joke and Baywatch where somebody's drowning and he starts running in slow motion with the little red lifesaver thing, and someone goes, "Why is he running in slow motion?" I mean, literally the same joke
nice.
in Baywatch.
Very nice.
To the fact he drives Kit, but it doesn't actually have a computer in it, so he hires people to sit in the back seat and pretend to be the voice.
That's weird, because that was in this thing.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
that's
okay.
That was not in Baywatch, unless I missed it.
Oh, that's too bad.
The biggest sin here is this is just not funny on any level.
No.
It's just irritating and tries to be kind of edgy, and it's so boring.
Well,
and
it's
lame.
weird because they set up a fair amount of stuff that, while on its face was not funny, and execution was not funny, but it also wasn't fully executed.
Yeah. Neither was David Hasselhoff.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this would have been so much better if it had ended with him actually dying. It would have been funnier. It would have felt like blacker and like
slipped on a banana peel or something.
Yeah, like they didn't successfully kill him, but he died by a complete unrelated accident.
And they can chunk his money.
Spoiler. Yeah, so there's just like 8 minutes of deleted scenes, none of which are of any consequence. Yeah, I actually watched the deleted scenes.
So was a lot of this just them riffing? Because it really felt like it.
I could not honestly tell you. It was directed by Darren Grant, who directed Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Okay.
You know, for whatever that's worth. What else did he do? He did Make It Happen with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which I have not seen, and a shit ton of music videos.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, he worked with Aaliyah, so that's worth something.
He's worked with some talented, well, maybe not that many talented people. There's got to be someone. Oh, De La Soul. There you go. De La Soul. Yeah. They're talented. Yeah. Yeah, I can't recommend this thing at all. Yeah.
It's not even laughably funny like another movie that we watched.
Yes, it is not. But real quick, I know you didn't get a chance to see this one, but let's talk about Veep.
Let's do that.
Season 6. Now, Veep, of course, is a political satire with Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who's been playing the Vice President of the United States of America, along with the whole rest of her crew of people like Anna Chlumsky and Tony Hale and Reed Scott, Timothy Simons, Matt Walsh, Sooth Bradshaw, Kevin Dunn, Gary Cole, and Sam Richardson, and lots and lots of other reoccurring characters.
And the rest.
Yeah. And it's gotten to the point in the show, like at the end of the last season, like she was running for president because the president had stepped down because of the health and his family issues, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And so she's like lost, and she's not vice president anymore, and she's just going on a book tour, which you're like, well, that seems relevant. But you're kind of like, so where are you going with this now? Because she's not, the title's not really accurate anymore, I guess, or seems less accurate, even though she's written this book about being the vice president. But honestly, it still really works. She's still as nasty a person as she ever was.
Okay.
You'd think she'd learn something along the way, but not really. And everybody has their own things going on here. One of the funnier things is the character Dan Egan, played by Reed Scott, has now gone on to be a host of CBS This Morning. And that whole bit was sort of like he's sleeping with the much older female host who's been there since the beginning, but he's also trying to steal her job. And, and all of that bit is pretty goddamn funny. Amy Bruckheimer is working for and engaged to a governor candidate named Buddy Calhoun, played by Matt Oberg, who's like one of those like real heartland, genuinely good, sweet guy, but somebody you would never hang out with in a billion years because he's just naive, doesn't cuss or anything. And she, of course, is an incredibly nasty person and manipulates without him knowing his run doing dirty tricks, and he's just horrified by this whole thing. Well, one of the best is Jonah Ryan, who is like played by Timothy Simons, who is this, I don't even know how tall he is. He looks like he's about 7 feet tall.
Ooh, boy.
But he's like, they play up for what like a blithering idiot is, and he kind of slid backwards into actually getting elected to the Senate. And everybody fucking hates him because he's a moron and he's offensive and he thinks he's the greatest guy in the world. And his whole run of actually, is this pointed, look, this guy's not much more dumb than a lot in real life. But yeah, this is a lot of fun still. Highly recommended once again. Unfortunately, the last season's going to be the last one. I do feel that, they're at that point where, in storyline-wise, it's time to wrap it up.
Sure, yeah.
But it's still just as funny as it ever was. And the only bonus features here are audio commentaries for episodes 1, 3, 6, and 7. But that's cool. Anyway, the other one I was going to talk about that you did see some of is Silicon Valley. The 4th season has come out now. I was telling you earlier, it's kind of got to the point with Silicon Valley. It's still very funny, but it's like Nerd Entourage, where it was like Vince gets the movie, Vince doesn't get the movie. And this is like, hey, the geeks got the giant deal to develop the app. They didn't get the giant deal.
Well, that's a classic pitfall of like, the juicy stories and the struggle. Yeah, like, well, it doesn't always have to be the same struggle.
No, and here, even though they're like, oh, well, now it's a different app, it's like, it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter if it's a video chat app or if it's a video compression system or whatever it is. That stuff doesn't make much difference in how it is. And I do feel like we're kind of gotten to the point where cycling back through the same jokes.
Yeah, there's only so much you can say about the tech industry being completely awful and cutthroat.
Well, there's probably a lot, but you'd have to name names, and I don't think Silicon Valley is willing to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of people in here who were definitely supposed to represent specific people.
Oh, yeah,
companies,
totally.
But I wouldn't know who they are because I just don't know enough about the tech industry. Now, you, on the other hand.
I do know, and I'm not going to say because they control our technology.
You think they're listening right now and going, just say it? They got their finger on the button.
No, they have passive APIs just scraping what we say.
I think I liked the deal here with the show's main bad guy, Gavin Belson, played by Matt Ross, losing his job at the basically Google that he works for, and he was like the CEO and everything, and he doesn't know what to do, and he forms a deal with the main character, Richard, which is something you never thought you'd see in a billion years. And that's the one new thing that happens that I'm like, okay, I did not expect that, and thought that was pretty funny.
But was it enough for you to care?
Dinesh Kamil Nanjiani, as always, has some of the actual standout funniest moments here. I love the fact that he has a girlfriend who's like, a death hacker. She's like one of the best, and he realizes if he doesn't want to date her anymore, but he can't break up with her because she'll fuck his life, because that's what she'll do. She said as much. And that's kind of a funny bit. But if you like the previous seasons and you still felt like very strongly about it, I doubt you're going to feel any less strong. I just hope they find a way to kind of develop the plot of the show some more, find something new for these guys to do.
Oh, they'll probably become Elon Musk.
I think what would be cool is if they succeed. Like,
Yeah.
make it work. They all become billionaires. And what happens then?
Yeah, because a nerd with a shitload of money is dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And, do that, give them a whole season where they're rich, and then they lose it all for just something incredibly stupid and unrelated.
Yeah, insider trading.
Yeah. There's only 2 minutes and 45 seconds of deleted scenes. And it seems like every season has had slightly less bonus features than the previous one. This is really a sort of like HBO going, yeah, we don't care, whatever. Get HBO. Why are you watching this on Blu-ray?
Yeah, get HBO. Go already.
Yeah, they're definitely, like so many other people, they're spending a lot of their effort deciding that their push is better spent towards getting people to stream and pay for a monthly stream than it is for this. And that war is only beginning to heat up as Disney is going to be entering that fray very shortly as well.
Yeah, folks, digital noise might be real different soon.
Yeah, all streaming shows. All right, let's go on to regular movies here, and this is our weekly martial arts film, Master of the Shadowless Kick, Wong Kar-ying. Now, I've watched a lot of Hong Kong movies about this precise period in history, because a lot of the great ones are here. I didn't realize that I had seen a lot of movies with this character because much more attention is usually played to his famous son who grew up to be very famous, Wong Fei-hung, which I think might even be the record holder for the most amount of movies ever made about the same character.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the shitty ending of this movie.
It's not a great ending. But this guy, Wong Kar-ying, was his dad, and he was also like a master martial artist, and he was but unlike Wong Fei-hung, he was kind of quiet and reserved type of guy. He was a doctor. He just didn't want to get involved.
Like ex-Shaolin monk, maybe?
I guess.
Sort of?
Yeah, sort of. And we reviewed before another Blu-ray from HBO from their new Asia made-for-TV series, the Drunken Master one they did, and which was just
Okay, so that explains why it looked like a Hong Kong telenovela.
Yeah, it's made for television.
Okay, that explains a lot.
I actually, on the whole, enjoyed this. I did think, yes, there's a lot of there's no reason to film something so it looks like it's on television anymore.
Well, what was funny with the editing is I thought that it looked like whoever was editing had seen only movies that were edited for television presentation.
I know. It really kind of was like, what is this? How, HBO's started this division, but I'm guessing that, and I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing they bought it from Hong Kong television. But I don't know.
Well, it was dubbed into Mandarin, but it was filmed in Cantonese, and then it had really, really shitty subtitles. It was very distressing to watch.
The idea is this title character has very strong moral code, and the politics in the area are going really crazy. With General Wei, who's the new territorial governor, who seems like he's okay. He enlists him to help him in this crisis versus a whole bunch of, essentially terrorists.
Yeah, and he feeds the peoples.
Yeah. But then, of course, it all turns out that, no, he's been pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, and he's actually completely evil. And so our master martial artist has to switch sides and figure out how to stop the opium trade.
Yeah, and want some ass on it.
And the plot elements of this get really silly, especially towards the end. But I did think the martial arts were really solid here, actually. And partially because this movie, much more so than most Hong Kong releases, feels like one of the old 90s Hong Kong films.
Yeah, the action was not the problem with this movie. Pretty early on, they just spill the entire beans, but then it takes an hour and 20 minutes to actually resolve that, which was kind of frustrating.
Yeah, and once again, they much like Master of the Drunken Fist that I reviewed, I want to say with Marco a couple shows ago, this kind of loses its way in unnecessary complexity in its plot, where you're like, why does any of this matter? And sidelines of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything. But it does move relatively quick from martial arts piece to martial arts piece once it gets going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I still had fun with this. Like I said, I think people who they think, I don't really watch Hong Kong movies anymore, but I used to love them back when. This has much more of the feel of those. It's just not as good as the best of those, This ain't no Legend of Drunken Master or even Encounters of the Spooky Kind or Once Upon a Time in China, which is definitely the plot it's probably most trying to adhere itself to. But no, you know, I'm always still like, yeah, no one's ever really beat those movies, those old classics, for just being goddamn fun.
Yeah.
The Hong Kong style
Awesome-tastic.
martial arts film. Awesome-tastic. I like that. I'm going to use that from now on. All right, let's move on to a film that is generally considered to be a classic from Japan, and that is New Battles Without Honor and Humanity. And this new set from Arrow is the complete trilogy, which is, to be fair, kind of a misnomer, because it was one of those, like, they were all given titles with, like, New Battles Without Honor and Humanity, something. But they have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
They have, like, actors who repeat in them. The sequels are with the same title, The Boss's Head and The Boss's Last Days, but they're not even the same characters. Like I said, a lot of repeated actors. I did not actually get enough time to watch the two sequels, and I've heard they're all right. They're not as good as the first one. And this is a Yakuza film, and is kind of thought by some to be the Mac Daddy of all Yakuza films.
Well, it's certainly got swagger.
It does. Actor Bunta Sugawara plays Miyoshi Makio, who is a member of the Yamamori crime family. And right in the beginning, we see a hit totally screws up. He ends up having to serve a prison sentence, which just kind of, by him, who's a very highly thought of member of this community, kind of throws everything like into disarray as the family he was with starts to splinter as Aoki, who's another member of that family, is trying to seize power from the boss, Mr. Yamamori, who's kind of incompetent.
Very.
I'm really rooting, even though he's clearly much more evil, you're kind of rooting for Aoki on some level here. So both of them try and bribe him while he's in prison with favors to join my side when you get out. And then when he gets out, he's kind of riding the middle, trying to figure out what the hell is even going on here.
Well, as one of the montages said, times have changed. A lot's changed since he's been in, so it's fair for him to want to like suss stuff out first.
But that actor, Bunta Sugawara, I think is great here, and there's certainly pretty exciting and violent action scenes. The storyline for a Yakuza film, which often tend to be almost incomprehensibly complicated, is relatively easy to follow here.
Yeah, it's
which
very
I appreciated. I don't know that I saw this and went, wow, that really was as great as everyone's always said it was. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. I just loved chewing the scenery and just taking it all in. Like, post-war Japan is just a really interesting time, and aesthetically, it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it is pretty looking. It's very well filmed, I thought. Obviously, you can see why people think of this as being kind of the high watermark for this period in cinema for Yakuza films, of which there were ones coming out every 5 minutes. But I don't know if this is one I'd go back and revisit or not. I know people personally who just love it and have watched this film so many times. I'm like, yeah, it was good. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I got it off my bucket list.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely more of a rite of passage than a perennial.
And like I said, this comes with all three films, but I did in fact only watch the first one. But with the first one, you get a 9.5 minute Beyond the Films, Battles Without Honor and Humanity, which is sort of a general overview of the series by a biographer of the director, Sadao Yaman. And once again, I did not watch that either. But there's extra features on all three of these discs. And if this is your sort of thing, if Yakuza films is your wheelhouse, then this is kind of the one you gotta get.
Yeah, grab it, baby.
All right, we're moving on to Dean. This is not a solo movie about Dean Winchester, I'm sad to say.
Yeah, or Sam. Sam is not about that either.
Well, they wouldn't have called it Dean then. Unless it was all about, he was the
No,
man.
Sam was the accompanying movie.
Was the what? Was that the Cheers spinoff?
Kind of.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a, a showpiece for the talents of Dimitri Martin, who most people...
Which one?
Yeah, who is a stand-up comedian, who I like his stand-up okay. He's not one of the people that, to me, I'm like... I know a lot of people think he's one of the best. I'm like, yeah, I enjoy him just fine.
He's not an LOL kind of stand-up. He's like,
He's a chuckle.
I get that.
Oh,
yeah.
Snap your fingers in appreciation.
Oh, that's clever.
Kind of a hipster comedian, if you will. Nothing wrong with that inherently. But now, he's writing and directing a movie about, him... kind of. You know, he's had a lot of supporting roles and animated voice stuff, but not really sure the acting gig is going to be really.
Nah, I don't think that's where he should explore.
Part of his thing is he's struggling to figure out what he's supposed to be doing in his life. He's mourning his mother, who's just died. His father is played by Kevin Kline, which is usually a good sign.
Usually.
Who really disturbs him when he says he's going to sell the house that he grew up in, and Dimitri Martin is just totally in denial about it. Like, he's like, well, you're not going to do that, so we're done talking about it.
Yeah, because he's emotionally broken for some reason.
And he draws all these doodles that aren't terribly funny.
Well, I mean, so does Dimitri Martin. Like, he's printed books of his shitty
Apparently
drawings.
people love it, and I was like, yeah, I don't really, I mean, it's fine.
Like,
but
I guess it was supposed to be self-deprecating, but at one point, there's this ad agency that wants to use his drawings, and they're like, so there's this guy, he's like a loser, he's like a dumb nerd kid, and he does these drawings, but they're real shitty and childlike, so that's going to be your drawings.
Yeah.
And I liked that, but it was like, are you being self-effacing, or was this supposed to be a nah, girl, I'm going to struggle against the man?
Yeah, I know, right? And you're like, come on, man. That's the thing, is like, he's so unlikable because he's just so absolutely blind to reality. I mean, there's a really hard to watch sequence where his friend, who he thinks is his best friend in the world, has decided to award the best man role to basically him and another guy who he knows like more freshly.
Yeah.
Clearly it's sort of one of those, we were friends a long time ago, Dimitri, but like, now
you
it's
ain't
just
around,
sort of
bro.
like, you ain't around and you're kind of lame now. And the other guy's obnoxious. Like, he's even worse than Dimitri Martin. But this scene is, Dimitri's like, well, I'm actually the real best man in front of the crowd.
Yeah, and that's why you got co-best man,
Oh
dick.
my God. But the movie really goes into gear, I guess, when he decides to go out to California to meet said creatives. I hate that term, who are thinking about licensing his artwork. And he ends up meeting Gillian Jacobs, which would be enough to stop anybody dead in their tracks and go, wait, maybe I should follow up on this.
Hey, I'm doing okay.
They have a meet cute. They really hit it off. And, of course, he immediately is head over heels in love with her, which is because of course he is.
Yeah.
The only thing out of here that was like, that is totally not realistic, like, is this guy in particular. If she was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for a big commitment, he would be like, well, fuck you, bitch. He would. He's this totally self-involved dude. You're just like, he's like, go immediately on to joining manliness groups on Facebook right after. It's like, I'm an artist. What do women do?
This is more pain for the struggle.
I don't know. I was not amused by this.
No, I was not either.
It's even the stuff with, like, where you think you really talented comedian like Gillian Jacobs, like the scenes with her, you find, she's absolutely charming. You see why anybody would fall for her. But the dialogue between the two of them doesn't work. He just keeps it so flat all the time. He's trying to be like, look how, or there are those moments where he gets a glint in his eye for a second, like, I'm going to say something that shows what a quirky, weird, clever guy I am.
Yeah, a lot of it was like, oh man, is this a shitty Woody Allen movie impersonation?
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily Woody Allen character, but definitely like the setup.
You're like, I get it. You watch some Mike Birbiglia films and you said, I can do that. Dude. You're no Mike Birbiglia, either on stage or in writing and directing films. I mean, better luck next time, but I cannot really give Dean any sort of proper recommendation.
No.
I'm sorry, I made you watch some not great films this week. I apologize.
Yeah, I know, and the worst is coming up.
No, you know that you, like everyone else, really likes watching The Lion King.
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
Do you really?
Yes. Well, I was a teenager when The Lion King came out, and so hearing classmates just singing all those shitty songs all the goddamn time, fuck that movie.
Well, I will tell you that although in general, I like pretty much even the lesser Disney animated films.
Yeah.
I was shocked upon rewatching this that I don't understand at all why this is one of their best-selling movies of all time. I'm like, this isn't even close to as good as like something like Tangled. I don't get it. The songs aren't that good overall. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I don't mind this movie. It's fine. But if I had a kid that wanted to watch it over and over again, we'd have to trade him in for another kid.
Yeah. Well, they did wonders with the actual animation and cleaning it up and stuff, but it kind of shows the threshold of traditional animation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it just looked shiny but shitty at the same time.
Yeah, it felt like they were getting towards the dividing line between that middle period of Disney and the end of the middle period and the beginning of the new period.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so like a lot of the line work was just real sloppy.
Did you see Sex in the Clouds?
No, because they took it out.
Did they really?
Yeah, they took it out.
Oh, that's fucked up.
I watched it with my girlfriend because she loves the shit out of The Lion King. And she's
a lot of people do.
She's like, bro, they took out sex. And I was like,
that's messed up, dude.
No, Nala still gets hers.
That's kind of, I know no kid is going to notice that, first off.
Right.
And second, that's kind of a ditz on the animators. That was like a little in-joke for them.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, Disney.
Plus, if kids get it, hey, you're teaching them to read.
Hey,
like, come on.
They got to learn about what sex is. You go, sex, they're just insinuating how, like, these characters are male.
Right, yeah.
That's
all it means. Jeez.
I don't know. I mean, it's fine. There's moments I like more than others, but I overall have to say, I mean, this is the new Circle of Life edition, and man, the circle of when they re-release these things is happening faster and faster because the last release of this was not very long ago.
So you're saying the vault has now got a revolving door?
Yeah, you think it was as many movies as they have. You're like, why aren't you re-releasing? I mean, there was actually, I can't remember who wrote it. There was a really interesting piece I read of an argument why Disney should re-release Song of the South, and it had to do with basically you've got to own what you did before.
Yeah.
You've got to own that shit. Like, everybody wants to see it again. And knowing that there's some really offensive fucking stuff in here. And Disney just put it out with, like, a documentary about, well, it was a different time. And
yeah, like a title card that says, hey, this shit's fucked up. Watch the extras.
Yeah, exactly. Now, all right, so back to The Lion King. The Signature Collection, of course, has a whole bunch of new supplements. It carries over a bunch from the previous release, and it removes a few. And strangely, it kind of divides up the older stuff between some stuff is on the disc and some stuff is only on the digital copy, which is weird.
Wow.
Very strange. But the stuff you don't get from the Diamond Edition is the Disney second screen, the Pride of the Lion King, Lion King, a memoir with Don Hahn, interactive art gallery, and Disney's Video Vault. The carryovers are audio commentary with the co-directors and producer, some deleted and alternate scenes with commentary, the Morning Report, an extended scene. There's bloopers and outtakes. There's a karaoke song selection, and a sing-along mode. So all that stuff is on the disc.
When sing-along mode popped up, I was like, Sarah, look at that thing. And then I just put it to regular mode.
You just Batmaned out.
I was like, fuck no.
The digital version includes from the previous one Beyond the Story, Visualizing a Villain, a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes EPKs of the making of, a lot more bonus scenes, cast and crew interviews, lots of stuff about the making of the music on here, lots of little EPKs about that. But the new stuff, which I know everyone is just like, get to the new stuff, Chris. People are at home like biting their nails.
Get to the new shit. I need it.
Okay. Visualizing a Villain, which is, it's basically a look at Scar set to the music of Be Prepared. It's kind of like a music video type thing.
Okay.
I don't know. It's only like 3 minutes long. The recording sessions, which the co-director is talking about how the voice actors record dialogue prior to animation with a picture-in-picture extra on it of various scenes showing them recording dialogue versus scenes from the film. Yeah, I think so. Inside the Story Room, that's almost 25 minutes, which is a look inside the storyboard pitches and how that happens for 5 scenes from the movie with introductions by the co-directors with scenes of Circle of Life, Simba and Nala. Simba takes Nala out to play, Hakuna Matters, and Rafiki and the Reflecting Pool.
So where's the section on how they totally didn't rip off Kimba the White Lion?
Yeah, right? Not this last one, which is Nathan and Matthew, the extended Lion King conversation, which is continuing on from a previous extra, just a longer version of it, or added new stuff from that conversation between the producer, Nathan Lane, and Matthew Broderick. It was filmed for the documentary Pride of the Lion King. They just talk about their childhood memories of Disney films, how excited they were to be cast in this. The original plot of the film, which involved lots of fucking.
Yeah, dog.
No, it did not. The recording process and them all staying friends afterwards.
You know what would have actually been really cool is if they had a copy of the Broadway Lion King.
Yeah, I suspect the rights to that are tied up in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be the ultimate edition of this, is one like, okay, watch the movie, now watch a very well shot version
See how
of the
they
play.
translate it to the boards.
Dude, how long has that even been out for now? Like a long time,
Yeah,
right?
at least over 10 years.
Has it even toured?
I think so.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it has.
I mean, in this house, we're just waiting for Hamilton, which could be a while.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I know. We're like, it's got to tour eventually. Yeah, I think the plan right now is, last I heard, was like 9 years.
Here you go. Here's tickets, and you can't afford them.
Hey, but Harry Potter's touring.
What?
I think starting this year, at the end of the year, the Harry Potter musical is going to tour. Or not musical, but play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Curse something. Harry Potter and the Curse.
The Cursed franchise.
Yeah, and the Curse. Well, it's not terribly cursed. It's doing pretty well.
Give it time.
Yeah, well, diminishing returns.
Harry Potter Rogue Squadron.
Did you think Rogue Squadron was diminishing returns for the Star Wars series?
No, I just thought it was fraught with danger. Because it could have easily been very shitty.
Yeah, and it still has. I know there are people who just inexplicably to me think that movie is just 100% perfect. But I'm like, really? Even the thing with the guy from the bar who happened to be on a totally different planet, it was like, how the hell did you get to Tatooine in time?
You just the less than 12 parsecs.
It must have been pretty goddamn close. I don't know. I like Rogue One just fine, but I find that people have strong feelings about whether they either love one and hate the other with Rogue One and Force Awakens. And
yeah, what is with that?
I don't get it. I like both of them just fine. They're both fine.
It's okay to like them, and guys, it's okay to like Marvel and DC. Like, you can do that too.
You take your dirty mouth.
No.
Hey, I like the Flash, okay? Flash is badass. All right, well, that's it for Digital Noise. Thank you, Joe, for joining me.
You're welcome.
It will be at least a week and a half to 2 weeks until the next one, probably closer to 2 weeks, because Fantastic Fest is going to start shortly, and I'm kind of full on into watching screeners for Fantastic Fest over watching movies, but I'm handing off the movies to the other guys before I've seen them, so they can. So I'm not waiting on them; they'll be waiting on me. So hopefully we can get the next shows up and running relatively quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, there will be one more show after this one.
Oh, look at you guys!
I forgot. Yeah, I'll be recording a show with Aaron on Wednesday.
Okay,
so that'll be coming out closer to the end of this week. But after that, like 2 weeks. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners to Oneofus.net, be a subscriber. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, being a subscriber is it. The long-term benefits of being a subscriber at Oneofus.net have been proven by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Watch TV, but not too much. Remember to cast a wide net of types of shows you watch. Even reality TV may have the occasional gem to offer. Don't feel too bad that you have trouble finding friends that share your interests. You are amazing, and you should love what you love. Sure, in 20 years you'll look back at your favorite stuff and cringe at some of it, but it will be with an affectionate smile. By the way, I have no doubt that you probably look amazing. Even if you haven't found that person yet, if you believe in yourself, somebody is going to love you. I'm sure anime is great. I don't personally watch a lot of it, although some of our staff certainly does. You'll feel better in realizing that my lack of interest in it isn't me critiquing the quality of anime and affects your love of it in no way. Tony is probably not gonna show up. Yeah, we wish he would too. Love that guy. Taking it personal when someone likes something you hate or hates something you love in entertainment is understandable when young. But as you get older, trust me, there will be little that will make you feel more embarrassed about yourself than cruel things you said on someone's Facebook page about DC versus Marvel or whatever at 3 in the morning. At least hopefully. Write, create, do your own thing, and if you don't have the time, find the time. Try out the shows you haven't given a shot to yet on our network, like Thumbtacks and Screwjobs, Somebody Likes It, or Deliberations of Doom. We think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But seriously, trust me on the subscription.